It doesn't matter the color of your skin or what god you worship. The only distinction that matters in here is the distinction between the guards and the prisoners, the guard and the inmate, us and them. The guard are our only enemy here. Our most immediate struggle is with them and through them, the unjust system they uphold. We struggle for nothing more and nothing less than control over our own lives. Quote Luke Cage. Luke Cage and the ultimate prison break. Juan Frigeri joins Denise Camp to bring us the history and the future of Luke Cage. Spider-Man isn't the only success story of Ultimates 1.0. Meet the man who has been quietly sabotaging the Maker's Council from behind bars. Ultimates Volume 4, Issue 9. A diabolical genius known as the Maker used time travel to create his ideal Earth by systematically preventing anyone from ever becoming a superhero and by establishing a secret council of supervillains, the Maker's Council, that rules the world from the shadows. But now the Maker is gone, locked away for the next 10 months by inventor Howard Stark. Howard's teenage son Tony took on the codename Iron Lad and began recruiting a network of heroes to fight back against the Maker's Council and prepare for the Maker's return. But after the Hulk ambush, this network of Ultimates, Iron Lad nearly died and remains in critical condition. Originally, Iron Lad used Stark boxes to send technology and heroic material to people to teach them of the heroes they were meant to become. His first success was Peter Parker, who allowed himself to be bitten by a radioactive spider to become Spider-Man. However, this story isn't about Peter Parker. In February 2005 at Seagate Penitentiary, a 15-year-old Carl Lucas, known as Luke Cage, is shocked to learn from a man representing him, who is not a lawyer, that he is being sentenced to a term of 1 year to life. His representative tries to reassure him that he could be released within a year, whereas he would have faced a mandatory 5-year sentence otherwise. However, Luke protests that he does not even know what he is being convicted of, as his sentencing took place in an administrative trial whose details remain unknown even to his representative. The man tells him, Carl Lucas, Luke Cage, you're going away for a while. Don't look so glum. It's just 1 year. You'll be out before you know it. But 1 year later, Luke remains at Seagate and is constantly subjugated to physical abuse from the guard. During that time, Luke began working his body into shape by lifting weights. By 2010, Luke took an interest in reading anti-penal system literature. Among the books Luke Cage is reading is Soul Dad Brother by George Jackson. Luke Cage is building his body and mind. In 2014, the guards confronted Luke for forming his own prison gang. Luke tries to explain that it was a reading group, but the guards viciously club him as they accuse him for being a troublemaker and a dangerous element. One of the inmates questions another, asking, how many times has Luke Cage been to the infirmary since he got here? The other inmate responds, I lost count. He must have broken every bone in his body a dozen times by now. They said he's unbreakable. The other guard scoffs. No one's unbreakable. In January 2024, Luke is awakened from his sleep by the arrival of Starkbox sent by Tony Stark from 6 months into the future. The Stark recording explains the life Luke was meant to have and presents him with the chance to free the world from the Maker's Council. Tony Stark says, Luke Cage, this is for you. These catalysts will grant you unbreakable skin and unbelievable strength, tools to build a society that can be perfectly directed and controlled. Together, we will free the world. As Luke Cage gains his powers, Iron Lad continues. They stole your future, robbed you of your destiny. Do you want it back? Stark's ionic catalyst. Luke gains superhuman strength and unbreakable skin. With his new powers, Luke causes an uprising and leads the inmates to take over the prison. We are taking Seagate. We are taking the prison. All power to the people. Several months later in June, Iron Lad visits Luke and offers to welcome him to the Ultimates. However, Luke declines to join the team, believing he can do more by dismantling the Maker's system from within. Iron Lad descends and says, congratulations on taking the prison and freeing yourself, Mr. Cage. Welcome to the Ultimates. You're one of the very few first generations who worked out. We can get you out of here. Luke Cage responds, actually, I think I can do more good inside than out. Iron Lad says, I don't understand. After all you've endured, Luke Cage interrupts. Because of all I've endured, I know I can't get free until everybody's free. Luke Cage is then transferred, and over the speaker, a voice announces, welcome to New Brunswick Correctional, a Midas Group facility. Midas was a self-made entrepreneur with connections to the clandestine Makers Council, a cabal composed of various world leaders of the 7 super nations that constituted the world and exerted a significant influence over society. Told in Ultimates Volume 4, Issue 2. In February 2025, Luke has himself transferred to the Gordium Correctional Facilities, a Midas Group penitentiary specializing in the for-profit prison space. Luke and the other prisoners have their global citizenship officially revoked, and they have no rights of any kind within the facility. They must obey the guards and follow rules in order to stay out of trouble. Luke saves fellow inmate Danny Rand for being knifed from behind. Of course, Danny Rand is supposed to be the Iron Fist, but in this universe, the Hulk possesses those powers. Luke befriends Danny and invites him to his reading session where he expresses his criticisms of the penal system. Soon he convinces Danny and some other inmates to plan a prison break. Luke Cage tells Danny Rand and the other prisoners what is happening here is modern day slavery, nothing less. Slavery is a social death. Is it to be forever cut off from your contacts and community? Is it to have never been born? They have made us into non-people explicitly. They say it's about justice. They say it's about law. It's not about any of that. It's about power. It doesn't matter the color of your skin or what you worship. The only distinction that matters in here is the distinction between the guards and the prisoners, the guards and the inmates, us and them. The guards are our only enemy here. Our most immediate struggle is with them and through them. The unjust system they upload. We struggle for nothing more and nothing less than control of our own lives. If we are to succeed in our struggles, you'll have to fight for life of the man next to you as if it were your own, because it is. Believe me, if they come for him one morning, they'll be coming for you that night. The people, whether inside these walls or outside, have no control over their lives, but we can take control. First this facility and then our future. The only difference between the inside and outside is one of maximum security and minimum weak point. In here, the system cannot stand. The world can no longer afford it. It never could. It cannot be reformed. The system resists reform. It must be transformed into the revolutionary sense. We must take power back for the people, many of whom will first be afraid of us. That's okay. Tomorrow, we're going to scare them, not to death, but to life. The guards quickly learn of the planned prison break and bring Luke and his cohort be executed by firing squad. The AIM commander sneers, a prison break. You thought you could hide a prison break from us. You can't trust criminals. If any of you could be trusted, you wouldn't be criminals, would you? See, it's just your nature. That's why you're in here. Just because you break a law doesn't make you a criminal, and you don't have to break a law to be a criminal. A criminal is just something you are, something you were born as. Cases like this, attempted escapes, failed riots, fall under strict Midas rules. Use lethal force to discourage recidivism. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't fill you with holes, convict, but I'll tell you what, I'm not ashamed to say that I love my job. As the prisoners are lined up to be shot, the execution begins. But the guards learn their unfortunate mistake as their bullets do not leave a scratch or mark on Luke. Luke Cage says, "All right, gentlemen, we're taking over now." In turn, Luke easily breaks free from his chains and begins attacking the guards. Remember, this all part of Luke's real plan to stage another takeover, just he had done in the other prisons before entering Gordium. Luke Cage smashes more AIM guards as he shouts, "Follow the plan, all power to the people, all power to the people." Luke Cage, February 2025, Gordium Correctional Facility. Danny Rand and the rest of the prison have taken over the facility, and Luke Cage screams once again, "All power to the people." In February 2025, aboard the TRS Helion satellite, LaJory privately talked to a comatose Tony Stark. LaJory says, "Doom says that you cannot hear me, that I only waste my breath, but there is no one else to talk to, and Doom doesn't know everything. I wanted to tell you, whatever you are feeling, Tony, whatever pain, whatever torment, whatever desire to escape, stay strong, it will pass. I know when I begin my transformation, I spent weeks listening to my bones break and reform, my flesh tear itself apart and grow back again and again. I threw up my own lungs, felt new organisms grow and rearrange themselves inside me. My belly was a pit of snakes in agony. I know pain, I know fear, I know that part of you wishes to give up. There was a part of me too, but you cannot, Tony. What brought me back was a promise. I must return to my people, Tony. They need me, I need you. This is why you cannot die. Do you understand? You made me a promise. You made all of us a promise, and I know that you will keep it." After finishing her words, LaJory leaves Tony. Moments later, Tony opens his eyes. 9 months remaining to the Maker's return. Next, Ultimates, Volume 4, Issue 10.